Okay, so our workout tutorial here focuses on the upper body, in particular the front of the upper body. Now I've given lots of different variations of exercises that work that part of the body, and it's not just press ups. So first off, we come to the banded floor chest press. Now this is a great way to work the upper body, the chest in particular, without the use of body weight. So here we're going to lie down facing the ceiling. We're going to drive that band up and across the chest, as can be seen here. Now notice how the elbows naturally come down to the floor. That's a great place to drive up from. So it's a nice and safe method of working the upper body. Also drive your feet into the floor and your upper back and allow the mid back and lower back to come off the floor if you absolutely need to as you drive that band up. So how can you make this harder? Well, with a resistance band, that's really easy to do. You just change out your resistance band. Before I had a slightly lighter band in the red band, and now we've gone for the black band here, which supplies more force, and then you have to work harder, obviously. So we can take this a step further, literally, and do the banded standing chest press. So here is the same mechanics. We're working across the chest, except we are standing. So now in this lunge type position, you're going to have to work harder to stabilize the body. Also, with the band anchored further behind you, you can get 1, more tension, and 2, more ability to work across the midline of the body. And why is that important? Because the more you work across the midline of the body, the more you're going to activate the chest and also work the shoulders even harder because the range of motion has increased. So again, this is a great way of using the band either on the floor or in the standing position. Okay, so a dumbbell floor chest press. Now this is a great way of using dumbbells at home, particularly if you don't have a bench. When we're on the floor, we're going to use the same principles that we did with the resistance band version. We're driving them weights up and then slowly lowering them down. We're in control the whole time. All the same cues apply here. We're coming up and across the body to activate the chest fully. Also going to drive the feet into the floor, and the upper back can stay firmly on the floor, and the lower back can lift off the floor as you drive that weight up. So again, this is exactly the same as a resistance band, and it works really, really well, although the strength curve or the resistance curve is slightly different to what it is with a resistance band. Talking of resistance bands, we can add a resistance band to our dumbbell floor press, or as I've called it, the dumbbell banded floor chest press. That's quite a mouthful. As we press up here, you're going to see how the dumbbells come up exactly the same, but now we have the added resistance of the resistance band itself. Now this is going to change the resistance level throughout, so it's going to be harder at the bottom and harder at the top as a result. So without upping your dumbbell weightage, you can add a resistance band to not only change the strength curve, but also add the overall resistance. This is a great way of utilizing both pieces of equipment, especially when you're at home, and you can get a really great upper body workout as a result. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the most famous bodyweight exercise for the upper body, a press up. Here we're coming to the incline press up in particular. This is the easier version rather than a normal on the floor press up. But here you can see how we are lowering that incline level slowly as we go along. The more you come down towards the floor, the harder this exercise gets, obviously. But here we're looking at a level which is around a desktop kind of level, or maybe a kitchen worktop level. So here is a great way of pressing up. Notice how I'm slowly descending. I've got control at all times, keeping the body nice and still and stationary. I've got the ribs down, I've got the glutes squeezed. That is going to keep the body in a great position to press from. So now we're going to move on to the bodyweight press up when you feel ready to do so, and we've got some variations. So this is a standard press up here. You can see how we're lowering with control and then we're driving back up. Also notice how I'm corkscrewing those hands, where they're not physically moving, but that is the motion that I'm creating as we press up off the floor. That is going to help keep those elbows in check and also our shoulders in order. So as we move on, we're going to come to a press up progression, which is using a band. And in this case, we make it into an X position. Now we've increased the resistance on a regular press up. So not only have we got gravity working against us, we've got a band working against us. Again, you need to corkscrew those hands to really get the most from this. Now when we come up on a couple of yoga blocks as seen here, now we can increase the range from which we can press from. So I can come down lower because the hands are slightly raised, which means we've increased the range from which we can press from. This makes it harder to do the press up. Now, if you want to put them two together, then you can take it to the extended range banded press up. Now, this is really going to push on a normal traditional press up onto something where the resistance is much higher. So here again, you really want to get those ribs down, bracing the core, squeezing the glutes and press in that position. Okay, so let's recap with a couple of coaching tips on this bodyweight press up. So here we're showing that the ribs are coming down. We're going to corkscrew those hands. We're going to drive the feet into the floor and we're going to squeeze the glutes. That's going to give you a really great press up and allow you to press in a powerful way. Also, you can regress it to the incline version as shown earlier or progress it using the bands and the yoga block. All right, we're moving on to a suspension trainer incline press up. Now, I've left this till last because this actually is a very demanding exercise when done well, because the suspension trainer is going to test your stability. Not only are you going to be pressing here, but all the muscles in the body have to work hard to maintain your position. So you're going to lose a little bit of stability and that is going to make it harder to do the pressing action. So I really love suspension trainer incline press ups, and that is exactly what we're doing here. We can make it harder by lowering our angle. We'll come to that in a moment. But essentially what you want to do is press and bring those hands across the midline of the body as we have done with the other versions of the exercises. You're going to have to work the core even harder here, squeeze the glutes harder as well to maintain that body posture. So as I said before, we can make it harder, and that is going to be done by lengthening those straps. So here we're closer to the floor, so gravity is making it even harder, and I'm going to come down a couple of stages. Now this is really going to test you in terms of those pressing actions. I love the suspension trainer press up. So the final thoughts on these press up actions here is that essentially you'll find the level that works best for you. But also, I always say this, make sure that you train to how you feel for that day. If you need to regress it, do so. If you need to progress it, also do so. So that covers your exercises that are focused on the upper body, the front of the upper body there. If you enjoyed those exercises, then brilliant. Please subscribe to this channel and also check out theworkingbody.com for all your health, fitness and nutritional information. And I'll see you again soon.